Whether you're a seasoned jungler, a casual arcane enthusiast, a die-hard KDA stan, or you don't know the first thing about League, Riftbound, the League of Legends trading card game, might be right up your alley. Or should I say right up your lane? It's a League of Legends term. In Riftbound from Riot Games, players take on the role of a legend, commanding units in battle, using gear for advantages, slinging powerful spells for powerful effects, all in the hunt to conquer and hold battlefields to score 8 points and win. There are multiple formats, including one-on-one matches, 4-on-4 free-for-alls, 2-on-2 team games, but for this video, we'll focus on one-on-one play. Setup. To play a game of Riftbound, players assemble 2 decks, a main deck of the cards they'll play in battle, and a separate rune deck that serves as the primary resources to pay for those main deck cards. They'll also bring 3 synergistic battlefields, which provide the primary scoring mechanism for the game. Each deck is built around a champion legend, a character that provides a unique ability that is always active and in play. In game rules, a legend isn't considered a card and can't be sent to the trash or to hand. It's always on board in the legend zone. A legend also determines the domain identity of the main deck, that is, which color cards are available in the deck building process. The 6 domains are Fury, Body, Chaos, Calm, Mind, and Order. In Set 1, called Origins, every champion legend has 2 domains. Players will construct a 12-card rune deck made up of the 2 types of runes of their legend's domain, and a 40-card main deck, which also includes a Chosen Champion. A Chosen Champion unit is a card with the same tag or character name as the player's legend. For example, Jinx Rebel can be paired with Jinx Loose Cannon. Classic double Jinx. This Chosen Champion unit card starts on the table in the Champion Zone next to the rest of the main deck and is always available to play if a player has enough runes to pay for it. Notably, once the Chosen Champion dies, it goes to the trash like any other card. A main deck can have up to 3 copies of the same named card, including that Chosen Champion, and 3 total cards with the signature spell tag that also match the tag of the champion legend. Jinx, for example, has Super Mega Death Rocket as a signature spell with Jinx as a tag. Because if you wanted a subtle weapon, you probably wouldn't have decided to be a Jinx player. Anatomy of a card. There are 3 types of cards in a main deck: spells, units, and gear, so we're going to break down each of them. Spells are a one-time use effect that go to the trash after being played. Get Excited is a spell. It has an energy and power cost, a keyword that determines its timing, and an effect. Its cost can be paid by exhausting 2 runes of any color and generating 1 Fury power, either by recycling a Fury rune by returning it to the bottom of the rune deck, or by using another power-generating source like a Seal of Rage. Little strategy tip, you can use a rune to pay for the spell's energy cost first, and then recycle it while exhausted to pay for the power cost. Units, they're just little guys. They'll usually hang out in a player's base or in their personal play area until the player decides to send them into combat. Check out Master Yi Meditative. He costs 5 energy and 1 calm power. He has tags which give more information about the card, and a Might, his combat statistic, in the top right corner. Might represents both the unit's damage dealt and the amount it can withstand before being killed and sent to the trash. A main deck can also include gear cards. These are ongoing tools you'll be using during gameplay. Forge of the Future is a gear that costs 2 energy and has both a when played effect that makes a recruit token and an ongoing ability that allows you to kill it to recycle up to 4 cards from the trash. Gear enters ready and players can exhaust them to use their abilities immediately. Battlefields. Now that players have their main decks and rune decks ready to go, it's time to choose battlefields. Players will bring 3 options for their battlefield that synergize with their deck. For example, since Jinx here likes to discard, Zon Warrens would be a good choice for her battlefield. But you know who I would never discard? Jinx. I can't fix her, but she can make me worse. Pat Benatar was right. Love is a battlefield. Though each player brings 3 battlefields to the match, they'll select just 1 so that each player contributes 1 battlefield for a total of 2. In a best-of-1 game, players will randomly pick one of their 3 battlefields. In a best-of-3 match, they'll get to choose which battlefield they want to use, but must select a different battlefield for each subsequent game of the match. What does a battlefield do, you ask? During gameplay, players score points by moving units to battlefields to conquer them, and then score additional points by holding, which means starting their turn controlling a battlefield. Unlike combat games in which players reduce their opponent's life total, Riftbound's scoring mechanism is constructive, as players race to be the first to score 8 points. So set those point markers to 0 and it's time to play. Gameplay. Players will each shuffle their main decks and rune decks, place their champion, legend, and chosen champion on the board, and select a battlefield. Then determine a first player. We like to shuffle the battlefields face down and select one at random. That battlefield's owner gets to choose who goes first. Then players draw a starting hand of 4 cards. They now have an opportunity to mulligan once by recycling up to 2 cards maximum from their starting hand, placing them on the bottom of the deck and redrawing to replace them. The first player begins with their start of turn and the handy acronym ABCD. A. Awaken. Ready all exhausted cards. B. Beginning. Check for beginning of turn effects. Most importantly, holding a battlefield, or an ability on a card like Jinx, Loose Cannon. C. Channel. The top 2 runes from the rune deck. The second player in a 2-player match gets to channel 3 runes on their first turn. And D. Draw a card. That one, easy. Next up in the action phase, the active player can play any cards in their hand that they have the runes to pay for. Cards might have timing keywords such as action or reaction. Action cards can be played on the active player's turn or during showdowns. I'll cover what a showdown is in just a moment. When a card is played, it's considered on the chain. Cards with reaction can be played even before other spells and abilities on the chain resolve. However, reactions require a trigger before they can be played, such as a spell being played, an ability being activated, a card being chosen, or a showdown being initiated. When no other cards are able to be played in reaction, then the chain resolves. There are no reaction triggers when playing a unit or gear, so when you play a unit, it's guaranteed to make it to the base. If the card has neither the action or reaction keyword, a player may only play them on their turn when no other cards are waiting to be resolved. Units can be played to either a player's base or to a battlefield they control, which is one they already have a unit on. Units typically enter play exhausted, but they might have an ability keyword like Accelerate that allows them to enter ready. So you've assembled an army and gear, you have powerful spells at the ready. It's time to talk about conquering and combat, the juice of scoring points in Riftbound. Conquering and combat. A player may exhaust a unit to move it, either from a base to a battlefield, retreating from battlefield to base, or if the unit has the super awesome keyword ganking, move from battlefield to battlefield. Players can move one unit or multiple at the same time. When a player moves units to a battlefield they don't control, it starts a showdown. Moving to an unoccupied battlefield still starts a showdown. If a player moves units to a battlefield that isn't controlled, an open showdown begins. The attacking player starts with a window to play actions, then their opponent can play actions. Reactions can also be played at any time during showdowns. After any actions and reactions resolve, if the attacking unit is still alive on the battlefield, that player scores a point by conquering, and now is in control of that battlefield. They now have the option to play future units directly to that battlefield instead of to their base. If they move one or more units to a battlefield that has an opponent's unit on it, a combat showdown occurs. The total might scores of all the attacking units are compared to the total might scores of all the defending units. Any actions and reactions played are then resolved, whether they remove a unit, change might scores, or more, and then the damage is dealt. Each player assigns damage to their opponent's units in the order of their choice, but they must assign the exact amount of damage needed to kill a unit, no partial damage, and no overkill. Then, if there are any attacking units remaining, they've conquered that battlefield and earned the active player 1 point. If at the start of their next turn, during the beginning phase, they still control that battlefield with a unit, they score another point for holding. I also want to call out that damage is healed on all units as soon as combat resolves. So if you're planning on multiple combats at the same battlefield in one turn, just know that your opponent's units' might will reset between each combat. There's no wearing them down. Winning the game. The first player to score 8 points wins the game. But to score your final point, you must either hold a battlefield or score with both battlefields in the same turn. That means you can win by holding for your 8th point, holding for your 7th and conquering for the 8th, or conquering for 7 and then conquering for 8 on the same turn. If you have 7 points and conquer without yet having scored the other battlefield though, instead of getting a point, you draw a card, which is also sweet. And that's the basics of Riftbound. There's so much strategy in this game, from deck building to timing to the choreography of movement into and out of battlefields that I hope you'll discover as you dig deeper. As you play, you'll find even more keywords and abilities like Assault, Shield, and Hidden. If you want a more in-depth look at the game, check out Riot's official tutorial linked in the description below, and perhaps you'll feel comforted by a familiar face. It's me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the Rift, because I live there now. Jinx is my girlfriend. We've moved really quickly, but I'm feeling good about it. If you want to send us a housewarming gift, check out the link to our Patreon below and consider becoming one of our Lil Freaks. Lil Freaks get exclusive videos, behind-the-scenes peeks, and you'll be making Jinx my house a home. Then once you've signed up, come on back here for more great games and good times on Good Times Society. Bye-bye.